Right, so let's start off here on EU on the daily as usual. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. What's the daily showing us? Well, you can see Friday we closed out as a massive bearish engulfing. So price pulled way down into this daily imbalance. Didn't quite fit it 100%, but went more than halfway. So after our bullish run, we did have a pullback, possibly to some sort of discount or maybe some sort of internal structure there. So we'll have to see the lower time frame still to see if we're still remaining bullish or not, or if the structure shifted back to bearish. But I think at the moment from the daily, we've mitigated a POY, not to 100%, so maybe we'll come down and fill it completely. But so far today, we've opened up and we are bullish, right? So we haven't taken previous weekly or daily high or anything like that, or the lows. But if we look over on DXY, we have swept previous daily and weekly low. You can see DXY is having some pullback from there, so that may encourage some sort of bearish move here on EU. We'll see that a lot closer on the lower time frame. So I don't think there's much to see here on the daily. Let's see what's going on between these 2 days here on the 4 hour. So here on the 4 hour, we still have some divergence here between this low to this high low. So there may be some strength still within DXY, right? At least maybe even for just a pullback here. We can see there's a massive opening gap here on EU, which is very unusual to see. So we have a gap below price, right? We're currently in a premium. We have this bullish leg here where we've broken above these highs, where we've opened up straight into a premium of that leg, previous weekly and daily high above, which we haven't swept, but DXY has swept the sell side liquidity of its previous daily and weekly low, which may provide the push needed for DXY to come up back to a premium, possibly this 4 hour POY here, and for EU to push down and maybe fill this gap here. I think my bias already for this morning is leaning towards shorts on EU, because we have this gap which is going to be a massive draw on price. We're in a premium. We have SMC divergence obviously, because our previous weekly high to today's high, right, is a high to a lower high, whereas we have a low to a lower low on DXY, right, and that sell side liquidity, SMC divergence, higher time frame POY mitigated. Okay, we've gone more into this order block here, so I think it gives a very good, at least short-term bias for a bullish DXY up to this premium area here, and a bearish EU down to this area here. So that's what I see, and maybe even beyond to this daily imbalance fill just below the previous daily low. So we'll see what happens there. We've taken some buy side liquidity above previous highs, mitigated this 4 hour order block, and sort of respected it with the candle bodies. Okay, we haven't closed above it yet, but we've taken the buy side liquidity. So I think that looks good for shorts this morning against our possible new trend. Let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see what the 1 hour looks like for this. So I think the 1 hour shows us just how big this opening gap really is. Definitely unusual. So it's definitely a draw on price. It works as an imbalance like any other imbalance. Okay, we've taken buy side liquidity above these highs here. We have our SMC divergence. We're in a premium. We have this large 1 hour order block here, which we are still respecting at the moment. But either way, even if we take this buy side liquidity, I think that will just play to our hands for a short here. So I definitely think price is going to gravitate towards this discount to fill this imbalance here. Right, same as DXY will to fill this imbalance here as well. Okay, so a massive imbalance on DXY, and DXY has made a new bearish leg, as you can see from this high to this new lower low, closed below this low. I think that would bode well for once we fill this area, maybe to continue our bullish trend where we was having these high highs and high lows. It got a bit more confusing once we had swept this buy side liquidity and broke down below these lows here, but we still had this 1 hour POY here to mitigate. So we may come down, hold this low here. Either way, my bias for this morning is to come and fill this gap possibly, or even just go towards it. So I'm thinking bearish EU, bullish DXY, SMC divergence at these highs here. We're within a POY here in the premium, okay? I've taken plenty of sell side liquidity on DXY, so I hope that's clear. So let's go down to the M15, let's see what that may look like for a trade. So the only thing this morning that I'm seeing that's lacking really is momentum. I don't see any just yet. Possibly we're going to come up and take some internal buy side liquidity or this high here, right? But I do see us possibly breaking down from here. Why? Because we had this M15 order block area, which we seem to be respecting. Price is breaking down from here. We've made this sort of internal lower low, left behind this imbalance. The imbalance was filled, order block, and I'm yet to see momentum come into the market, but we may just start respecting some sort of internal order flow to head down to this zone here. What I want to see, obviously, is way more momentum than this, right? If possible, maybe price to come up. So it's taking this buy side liquidity internally and then break down with some momentum. I want to see this low broken through. It doesn't have to be as far down as this, but break through this low. Okay, leaving a nice imbalance, an order block behind for us to pull back to, okay, mitigate and then continue down towards this discount zone here where this imbalance is. So I want to see a clear break of structure around this zone here, leaving behind this order block with a nice imbalance in its leg. Possibly we're going to have a corrective pullback, leaving some inducement here, some buy side liquidity for us to mitigate, right, where we set our order above, stop loss just above the high, to aim down towards that discount POI here. So that's what I see. If price were to, say, come up higher and take these highs out, that's fine too, as long as we get that breakdown, right, buy side liquidity on side, breakdown below a low of the structure that we're creating, and then pull back. So I'm fine either way. DXY may pull back, may want to mitigate this POI here, and then break its structure and go higher as well. So down, up, break structure, pull back to continue going towards this imbalance here as well. So that's what I see for EU. That's what I want to see. Something like this, doesn't have to look exactly the same, but I want to see a structure and then it break down, and then we head towards this zone here after taking all this sell side liquidity. So I hope that was clear. So let's move on. So again, we're here on GBPJPY. We're going to start off on the daily. So what's the daily showing us? Well, Friday we closed out bullish, right? After those bearish 2 days, we reached well down, probably into a discount of some structure here. Maybe we've shifted structure. I don't think there's loads to see on the daily, apart from the bearish move that was triggered from the buy side liquidity above this high. We still have our previous daily highs, lows, weekly highs and lows still intact, right? So we had an inside sort of bar on that Friday. So we're just going to see which way price is going to continue. So let's see what the structure looks like on the 4 hour. Cool. So on the 4 hour, for me, I think we look bearish, right? We took plenty of buy side liquidity up here, had a massive bearish move. We left this imbalance, 4 hour order block behind. Now we've pulled back, okay, because I think this is a 4 hour bearish leg where we closed below this low here. Pulled back to this 4 hour POI, just about in the premium of the entire leg. We have respected it, okay, and we look to be breaking down from there, which makes this a possible weak low. So for me, the 4 hour is very self-explanatory. We had our bullish trend structure going on here. Now we've taken some buy side liquidity and broke down. Now this POI here is holding, and we're possibly breaking down from there to continue that and target previous weekly lows as a weak low. So that's how I see it, at least in the short term. So let's go down to the 1 hour. Let's see if that agrees. So the 1 hour clears this up, I think, even more for me. I'll zoom in a bit more. I've got the leg drawn out on the 1 hour. Okay, we mitigated a 4 hour imbalance there, spiked up above those internal highs, broke down, creating that bearish leg from this high to this low, discount, premium, pulled up to the premium, right deep into the extreme of the premium, 4 hour order block, okay, rejected it and broke down bearish. Now, overnight and into this morning, we swept some internal buy side liquidity by the looks of things, mitigated this imbalance here, broke down internally. This is probably a 15-minute breakdown, right? This is still that possible weak low because we've respected this high with a lower high, so that makes this low weak within this leg. And then we've pulled back down, and now into London through the Asia session, we've come up to this 1 hour POI and respected it. Okay, so if you look now, we've got 3 minutes left of this hourly candle, and we're about to close out quite bearish, rejecting this zone. So I do see a continuation. If this is an M15 leg here, then this is also a weak low. So I do foresee a continuation towards these lows here, at least for this session, ultimately down to here. So let's go down to the M15. Let's see what this looks like at the moment. Alright, so the M15 shows us that price action a lot closer. On that Friday into Monday price action, you can see we swept that buy side liquidity internally, broke down, creating a new internal bearish leg. We pull back very correctively. This Asia price action into London is just a trend line correctiveness up into this zone here, which is a 1 hour POI and 15 minute POI. This is the 15 minute order block that swept that buy side liquidity, triggering this move down. We've respected that zone. Obviously I didn't set a trade there, but it's a nice zone. I want to see order flow continue from here. Now my preference of what I want to see for a trade, I want to see buy side liquidity swept again, fresh. That would be great for me. So if we were to pull back, come up above these highs, take that buy side liquidity and then break down, that would be really good. Break down below this low, pull back to an order block on the lower time frame with imbalance to then continue lower, either targeting these lows or just wherever we need to with this trend line here. Okay, so that would work well for me. We have that order block here, break of structure, possible inducement from a corrective pullback here where we set our order to go short from around this zone here, stop loss just above the highs, right? Target wherever matches your strategy. Mine would be 3%, so I'd be looking for something like this. Again, we'd have that extra bit of buy side liquidity swept from just above these highs. If that happens, that would look really good. Of course this could go higher as well. If it does, it could happen above here, whichever way, as long as we get that switch of structure as well to continue this. But I do like how it's respecting this zone, and of course there may just be an order flow opportunity later. If we don't come up here, we may get something later on where price does its small pullback to then give us some sort of continuation. If we don't get an entry here, because the structures here aren't as clear to me on the 5N, you may get a more clearer breaker structure, pull back to maybe this zone here. But I would prefer if we come and sweep that buy side liquidity again and break down. I do like fresh buy side liquidity. So that's everything for today. I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.